Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to Why Are We Like This, a Heartstopper podcast. I'm Ashley, she, her.
And I'm Alyssa, she, they. And today we have a very special, long time coming bonus episode focusing on the music of the first 4 episodes of season 2.
Part 1.
Woo!
And today we have 2 very special guests joining us again. We have our dear friend and creator of our theme song,
Kassandra. She, her usually, but like I'll turn around to pretty much anything. What? Me? No, not me. Okay. That person over there, cool. No, yep.
And we also have close friend of the pod.
Hi, it's Nicolette. Pronouns are she, her.
Hello. We're so happy to have both of you here for this episode again.
Yay. I'm excited.
I'm very happy to be doing this again. I love you guys.
We love you.
This has been a long time coming. This is our 3rd time rescheduling this.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like, yeah.
Life has been a lot.
Oh, yeah. I feel like my time blindness has just been like, oh, yeah, we just rescheduled it and now we're doing it. And now I'm like, wait a second. Didn't we schedule this
in May?
3
between
months ago, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But
it was still cold here. Definitely still cold here.
Yeah, and we're here now, and that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and instead of it being cold, it's hot as blazes.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we decided to split into 2 episodes. So we're doing the first 4 today. So we'll talk about Out Through Challenge, and then we will be back again for our part 2 to talk about the rest of the season.
Word.
However, before we get into season 2, we need to apologize profusely because we got so many DMs, emails, Discord messages after our first one that we just did not dive into Paper Mache World. And it was the only song from season 1 that we didn't really talk about. And it's a major scene. So I thought we could go back and revisit that song before we get into season 2.
Sounds good.
So I'll just start, I guess. My thoughts about it are actually pretty extensive. First off, the I'd Find You in Any World is just giving Major in Any Universe vibes, which is so classic Nick and Charlie. We hear the lines, when all is lost, I see the signs, and you'll be waiting after all. Everyone is talking about Nick and Imogen, and Charlie definitely is still having some doubts about Nick. Right when we hear that line, he's just said that he's going to make it better with Imogen, and Charlie's kind of yeah, okay. And so I feel like he's got all these pent up feelings about that situation, and yet here they are saying that they like each other and they're kissing in a public space. So that line really kind of hit. Also, the line, who cares for fancy people who can't even fall in love? I'd rather travel around and find you in this goldfish bowl. Both times we hear that line, we see Tao and Elle. It cuts back to them, and it just made me think that it speaks to the fact that they have already kind of swam around the bowl and found each other, and they just haven't really realized it yet. And what a miracle it is to be so young and to find that, and for Nick and Charlie too. But I don't think that they're at that point in their relationship yet, the way that Tao and Elle have already bonded as friends.
Yeah,
and I think that this is the moment that Elle starts to understand the bond that they have and everything that it could be, and how much she feels for him. So I thought it was interesting that both of those lyrics got put on that couple. So I thought that was interesting.
So that's something I didn't really notice. So that's really interesting that you brought it up, because I'm like, oh no, that does make sense. Their relationship was already established, even if it wasn't immediately flirty. It was
right.
Tao kept instinctively buying Elle's apple juice.
Mm-hmm.
That means something.
Right.
So that does, what you're saying definitely makes sense, because it seems Tao sort of understands, but not really. And then Elle goes, oh,
yeah,
I get it now.
Right. Yeah. And we get that shot of her looking at him, and there's you can see the stars reflected, and she gets all the little animations around her. So it just really hit rewatching it.
Oh yeah.
The other line that also struck me was when we see Isaac we get the line, who cares about the system and everything they stole? And I feel like Isaac, at least in my opinion, is going to get the most like criticism about his introverted arrow aceness, right? Like as adults, we have so many facets of life and so many like things going on. But especially at that age, like the biggest parts of your life are your social life and your dating life. And like those are the two things that he simply just like does not care about the way that other teens do.
Yeah.
He is like actively going quote unquote against the system in a way that the others aren't. Like, yeah, they're all different types of queer, but a lot of them are types of queer that people understand or have at least a small understanding of, whereas I feel like the ace spectrum is like largely still very misunderstood or even just like unknown to some people. So I just love this line for seeing him like playing the coin machine by himself.
Yeah, that's really fitting. And there's a lot of thought that goes into this, which I was like listening to these songs and thinking about like, well, how do they even decide what scenes are going to get a song and what scenes are just going to get like, you know, the heart stopper, like little
Score.
musical. Yeah. And I thought that was interesting. I was like, do they just decide, okay, hey, we want a song for this scene, go find one that fits, you know, and like, how do they, because then the scenes have to get cut together to go with the song at that point too, unless it was a complete accident that these lyrics fell perfectly, right?
The music supervision for this show is like so good. Like it's definitely intentional. I always feel like a lot of the like scenes with songs end up feeling like little mini music videos for the song. It's almost like when like in the like early 2000s when you would have like the song that they wrote for the movie and the music video would have like all clips from the movie. Like it's that, but not as like in your face.
Right. Yeah.
And this is definitely one of the scenes that feels that way.
Yeah. Also, I feel like a lot of the times they cut the song to fit. So like a lot of the songs are edited down to where like that's not how the song actually is laid out.
Yeah, true.
I feel like if it needs editing, usually it's the song that gets like a new cut to go in the scene.
Yeah. Kind of like fades out and then fades back in at a different part of the song.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's just done so well.
Yeah.
You know?
I just have one more rant about this. And it's like not really about the show. It's just more about like the concept of a paper mache world. And I was like, it's just so like relatable because like we are all just like kind of slowly paper macheing our lives together as we go. And I feel like it was just like important to say, like, there's never a day when you just wake up and you're like, I get it. Like, okay, I've got this life thing figured out. Like, we just get better at adapting.
Not for nothing. Like, when I think about paper mache, like, it looks so much sturdier than it actually is.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at like a piece, like a paper mache piece, like it looks pretty solid, but it's fragile as fuck.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so much of what it feels like to be a teenager is like you feel invincible and it on the outside it looks invincible, but it's super fragile and like everything you're basically rebuilding as everything is falling apart around you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
Damn.
I have a degree in this.
Well, no wonder you're so smart.
Yeah, it shows.
Oh, wait until part 2 when I do intend to give the people what they want and do a full poetic analysis of You're So Pretty.
Yes, I'm excited for that. I can't wait.
I almost did one for this part, but I was too tired.
Valid.
I've been sick recently, and
I was honest.
Was like, I'm just gonna wing it.
Fair.
To be completely honest, I finished prepping for this like right before this.
Oh, same.
Because I'm ADHD.
Yeah.
And it has to be, I had the deadline, you know?
Yeah. Any other paper mache world thoughts, feelings?
Oh.
The second that song starts up, I'm like, such a beautiful scene.
There is like a moment, like if that song comes on my Spotify, I'm like, do I want to feel all of these feelings right now? Like I have like that split moment of like checking in to be like, do I want to do this to myself?
Yeah.
I feel that.
Usually I do because it is a gorgeous song, but
it is. It's so pretty.
There are definitely some times where I'm like, I can't do this today.
Yep, for sure. Should we dive into episode 1 of season 2?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
We open up with Shatter by Maggie Rogers.
Love.
So perfect.
Love this. Yes.
Literally, my note says lyrics fit so perfectly. It's like Maggie wrote it specifically for the show.
Yep.
Yes. Love. I love this. What I wrote was, I know it's not exactly like Want Me, but it's like the same vibe, except like elevated to like happier, like clearer, like the vibe just definitely fits it. And then, of course, because it fits like the mirror of the scene. I remember last time, because I still think about this, last time when I was talking about like want me if you want me. And it ends and it's because Charlie will follow Ben anywhere, like wherever he wants to go, whatever he wants to do, like fuck Charlie's feelings, basically. And this one's very much like not like that. You know, Nick surprises him. So that's like the vibe. But like the beat of the song and everything, I love the mirror. I love the full circle moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's brilliant to start the lyrics. The first set of lyrics is coming up for oxygen. The world's the same, but something's changing. And this is literally the next morning after they've like become boyfriends. And so like that is like just so like such a perfect like over encompassing way to start this season following that scene.
And I love that it's like really the immediate change. It's not like is this reality? It's like, no, this is reality. This is real. And full in, like dive right in.
Yes.
No dipping your toe in.
Yeah, just like so head over heels, happy.
And I wrote down the lyrics. I don't really care if it nearly kills me. I'd give you the world if you asked me to. And also in line with this, I'd do anything just to feel with you. And that's really what this season is. Like season 1 was such a season of self-discovery and like figuring each individual character, like figuring out who they are. And then season 2 is like, now that I know who I am, how do we all fit together? How do we all fit in the world together? And like, you're falling so hard for like this other person. And like, I'll give you literally anything to like keep you happy and make sure that like everything is going to go smoothly. And like all of them in season 2 are just wanting to give each other the world and like make sure that everyone else is happy. And, you know,
exactly. I was going to say it ties in.
Yeah.
I was about to say it just sets up basically the entire season.
Yeah. For sure.
And then I could break a glass just to watch it shatter. I can feel it in my fists. It's time to shatter. And I just wrote down like, do you ever get so overcome with excitement that you just have to like shake it out like Charlie does after Nick asks him on a date? And it's like, you just have to do something to like get rid of that energy. Like that's what that line makes me think of.
Yeah. See that.
And then I also just wrote down real quick, if we could talk about the lyrics that we don't hear in the scene, but that are in the song. Later in the song, I see it in your teeth. There's a tightness when you're smiling. It creeps in through the back door when you play pretend and break down crying. And it feels like that because you're wishing you had something you never had. And I was like, that line like screams to me like Nick, season 1 included, like knowing he liked Charlie, wanting to be with him, but being terrified and confused. And it was all new to him. And then he does start dating him, but he's not out. So when he's in public, he feels like he's playing pretend and he's not really being himself. And then all of the anxiety creeping in all the time from the pressure that he's like putting on himself to like come out. And so that line also hit me as being like pretty pertinent, even though it's not in the show. Yeah. And I got to see Maggie Rogers at Bonnaroo, and she did play that song, and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
Stop.
We're only a little bit jealous.
It was so good. She also played Alaska, and she did like a stripped down version, just her and the guitar, and it was beautiful. I was like, I'm starting a petition to have this version of Alaska be in the last season of the show.
Yes.
So good. Yeah, those are all my thoughts. And anybody else have other?
I feel my notes on this are like, I feel like I've talked about this song so much already that I've forgotten everything that I have to say about it.
That's fair.
It's, you know, like we talked about it when we watched, like in our first episode, in the first, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then we also talked about it with Kate and David pretty recently too. And so I was just like, I feel like I've said everything. I can't remember what I said.
Yeah. It's perfect. That's all you need to know.
It works. Yeah, it works really well.
So the next song is Out of My League by Fitz and the Tantrums.
This was such like a fun surprise for me because I love this song and like have for years. And I was like, what are you doing here?
Same.
It's like at the beginning of the party, like, you know, when they are inviting Imogen over with the plan of Nick coming out to her. And my note says, I feel like I definitely have thoughts, but they're not forming something Charlie feeling like Nick is out of his league. And like
something.
like I said, all the things I believed, you were just the right kind. Yeah, you were more than just a dream. I feel like that's really important, that like you were more than just a dream, like for Charlie. Like it's that same thing of like reminding himself that this is real.
Yeah. My note says, I think that this one's pretty self-explanatory as to why it fits. But we're here, like we hear in season 1, Charlie describes his like hypothetical dream guy to Tori. And then we see Nick come in and give him all those things. And the same can probably be said for Nick, that he just like wanted someone who gets him and loves him. And it's Charlie that steps in and does that. And they've both said, like, I never thought this would happen to me. And this song is basically that. I never thought that I would ever have someone like you love me back, but here we are. If this is a dream, please don't wake me up because you're my everything. So like, that's like the whole vibe of this. And like in this scene is when we get that gorgeous shot that I love so much of them on the couch where they're like slowly scooting closer and closer to each other, like having their first like touches in front of the group.
The sparks flying.
Yes, I love it.
Can I expand on that? I was going to ask.
Please.
Of course.
Going beyond Nick and Charlie, my note was that this expands to everyone who's currently at the party, because Imogen hasn't showed up yet, including Isaac. Because if we think about it, like Tara and Darcy are so established, but Tara always says all the time that she is like envious of Darcy's confidence in public, that she feels like her sexuality is more established, like, you know, that she doesn't look like she's struggling, and like she kind of wants to be her when she grows up. And, you know, I remember, like, I'm just thinking back to season 1 when they're like in the music room and they're talking about that, and like there's that vulnerable moment, and yeah, like it makes Tara feel better, but doesn't mean it's not still real for her, because she still talks about it in season 2. And with Tao and Elle, Tao says all the time that, or sort of like implies and says all the time that like he doesn't ever think he's good enough for Elle. Even though for Tara and Darcy and for Tao and Elle, they are exactly what each other needs. So I think for the entire party, not just Nick and Charlie, this is very on the nose, and not really on the nose, but like important.
Yeah.
Well, because Elle feels like she's out of Tao's league too. She's like, oh, he wouldn't be an enemy. So it's kind of like they feel that way about each other.
Including Isaac too.
Yeah, poor Isaac just sitting there looking at all the people coupling up, and he's just like...
But you know what? He is what he needs.
And Imogen will be there soon, so he won't be the only like uncoupled person in the room.
The
next one is Also at the sleepover just later, we hear Pressure to Party by Julia Jacqueline. I love their voice. This is like I really dig the vibe of this song. I haven't had as much time this time around to like dig into each artist like I did last time to find like other songs that I liked. But this is one that's like on my list to do a deep dive on because I love the like vibe of this song.
Yeah. I think it's funny. It's like Pressure to Party right when Tara and Darcy are like trying to get more people to go dance, like come get up and dance with them. And like, it's like the literal pressure to party, but then like there are other lyrics. I feel like that it's not just that.
Yeah, I feel like because Imogen is there and like Nick comes out to her at the party, this is like right before he comes out. So like she doesn't like he doesn't think that she knows yet.
Right.
So it's very much like they want to do, because that is the lyrics, like they do want to get up and dance and they do want to like do all this stuff, but she's there. She's the only person, and that's what's like holding them back.
Even though they're sitting on the couch with Nick's arm around Charlie.
Right? Like, come on,
but
guys.
I also think that there's another like layer to it. The fact that everyone is currently pressuring Nick to come out to her during this scene as well. And like, I think that's what really, we have talked about this a lot. It like really bothers me how like hard they're going here, being like, you need to tell her, like behind Imogen's back, very obviously. And I've been thinking about it a lot, like since we talked about it with Kate and David, like what specifically really bothers me about it. And I think the reason is because this was supposed to be a low pressure situation for Nick. The whole point of having her over at this sleepover with this group of people who are all accepting and supportive was supposed to make it low stakes and comfortable, like a nice, comfortable environment. And yet here we are constantly pressuring him. And so I think the main line that made me think of like Nick and his anxiety and all of that pressure was in one of the verses. There's pressure not to leave it for too long before you find another heart where you belong. So he's like, I've got to like come out. Like this whole season, he's like, I've got to come out. Otherwise, Charlie's going to like eventually go be with someone else who can be out, you know? And so like we have the pressure, the like innocent pressure of them being like, come dance on top of the heavier pressure of being like, I'm out, you know?
Yeah, like she's like, oh, pizza finally. And then they're like, as they're going to the door, they're like, tell her.
Yeah.
They're like really aggressive about it.
I think there's like pressure to come up with reasons why sometimes it might look to you like I'm not even trying. Like it's like, okay, guys, like I'm trying to get the courage to it's just like to them, it's just like, oh, just do it already, you know? It's like they're not really helping.
Also like the fact that Tara's participating in it, it's like season 1 just didn't happen.
That's how I feel about Elle. I'm like, you literally just sat at that picnic table and told Tara and Darcy to shut the fuck up, that you were, just because they were out doesn't mean that you're ready to like have that change in your life. And I'm like, and yet here you are being the most aggressive, in my opinion, like pointing over her body, being like, you need to tell her. I'm like, what are you doing, girl?
I think they all just got a little excited.
Yeah, no, they were all super excited, and I think that their intention was pure, right? Their intention was there. It's just that the execution didn't happen as intended. But yeah, I feel like we have talked about that scene a lot.
Well, we can segue into the next one.
Yeah, we have our staple Wolf Alice. This one's called The Beach. What a gorgeous song. And like so like it just makes you feel melancholy, like just listening to it.
Yeah, this scene causes me emotional damage.
Yeah.
And the showmakers will be hearing from my attorneys. Just like from like every angle, the writing, the directing, the music, the acting, because this is like Charlie, this is like his monologue about everything being perfect, and it destroys me. And I've talked about that a lot. So I'm not going to, but there's just something about like the vibe of the music overall, but then also the chorus being like, let others battle, we don't need to battle, and we both shall win. And how Charlie is trying so hard for everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, it hurts.
It's not. Yeah. It's very much a giveaway. Kind of like how I said that was like setting up the entire season. I feel like the beach is also doing that with like Shatter's doing like the positive stuff, like heck yeah, and then the beach is like, okay, but like we're gonna get real.
Yeah, it is like the two undercurrents of the season. Yeah, for sure.
Also, just the fact that it's called the beach.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Right as the credits roll, the like, you know, we get the like crash of the cymbals, and we get pressed in my palm was a stone from the beach. The perfect circle gave me a moment of peace, and it just made me reflect on them and like where they're at. And it's like they have been in their own little bubbles since the beach. Like they're finally starting to come out of that bubble now. And it's easy to say that you're going to tell people, but then actually telling people and coming out can be like pretty fucking difficult. So they've been living in like ignorant bliss, living in the idea of it all. And now that they're like coming down from that high and realizing that they're still in that battle. And so that's kind of like where we end this episode, on this like really heavy note of like, we're out of our bubble now and it's time to like actually fight again.
Yeah, it's just like real world time. Yeah. From a production perspective, not having to do anything with the show per se, or at all, not even per se, but just at all. I really enjoy, and also, you know, I am a vocalist, so of course I hone in on that, but the vocal layers and the harmonies, like where there's a, you know, up high, like in her upper register, and then she's singing also in her lower register, layered on top of each other. There's like, it creates this, like a fullness to the sound. Right?
Yeah, like a surround sound almost.
Yeah, I really enjoy that.
Yeah. I like, and it's just like the cinematic build of the song too, right? Like it's like very quiet, and like the drums are like slowly picking up. And then when it gets to that chorus, it's like crash, and you get like the weight of the song. Beautifully done.
For sure.
Okay, so that's episode 1. Episode 2. Does anyone know how to say this artist's name?
Nope.
I was hoping you guys would know how to say some of these.
Nope. Because like I love them and I follow them on TikTok, but like I've never heard anyone say it, so I don't know.
It's MXM tune.
Okay.
So you say MXN. Yeah.
Okay.
MXM. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Oh, okay. You quicker on the Google than me.
And the song is called Coming of Age. And it's pretty great too.
Like especially over like the parent teacher conferences.
Yeah. Every single song we're going to be like, it fits so perfectly.
No, but most of them.
No.
Wow. No, but this absolutely does.
Yeah.
I think we could all agree on that. So I think it's perfect, especially with Tao's mom being so shocked that Tao could be struggling in any class. Like she hasn't even been paying attention to his quality of art. Those light color glasses, really.
Clearly Tao didn't show her the shoe potato.
Right.
I mean, but Elle fixed it.
Or any of the art that is right on the table in front of them, because the way that Mr. Ajayi is just like, and like points at it, it's like the worst fish you've ever seen.
I didn't think they were that bad.
Also, like there are parents who just like, Yan is not one of these parents, but like there are parents who they think that their kid's doing great, and then you show them their work and they're like, oh, okay, thank you.
I'm sure you have lots of experience in that.
What? No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Not at all. No. I have a couple of notes. My first one is let the credits roll, and then of course you're going to put that in the opening credits when they.
It's great.
Yeah. But the part where it says brush my hair in the mirror, maybe I'll dye it red. Heard that color is dated, but I don't care what they said. I was like, since when is red dated? I take personal offense to that.
I had the same thought.
Somewhat, yeah, I know. And then it's just like, might dye my hair, like might dye it blue. And I thought of you.
Yeah.
Just like maybe it's dated, but maybe dated is cool. It's like, that's right. Maybe dated is cool. I mean, bell bottoms came back. So
hello, overalls came back.
Right.
Everything old is new again.
When are these colors dated though? I feel like it makes me feel so old.
But I also feel like that's such like a teenage like inner monologue of being so concerned about like being on trend and being like, oh, well, I heard that's not cool anymore. Like, even if that's not even the case, it's like this perception and like being so worried about what other people think.
Yeah.
But then this being the counter to it.
Yeah. Being like, okay, well, maybe like, it's like, oh, well, I care, but wait, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like sort of busting out of your give a fucks.
Right.
You know, like Sabrina Carpenter says, I give a fucks are on vacation.
Yeah.
I love that line, by the way. I know it's not like related to Heartstopper, but it is music.
I love Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes. Same.
I wrote down a couple of lyrics. It starts out by saying, you say I've changed, maybe you should try it too. And I wrote in all caps, Jane, early, let's do some work on ourselves, please. And then I also wrote down just like this chunk of lyrics where they say, it's the end of an era. I put my fist in the air and then I look in the camera and tell them, let the credits roll. When the lights come on and they play that song saying it's time to let the curtains close, this ain't a coming of age anymore. And then we hear, I'm not the same, so don't expect what you're used to. And I just put, dun, 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 angsty Charlie is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foreshadow.
Yeah.
Love that.
The next one's a big one.
Yeah.
I have so much personal stuff.
Yeah. So the next one is Paradise by Carmody. And that is the scene where they go to the party. Nicolette, start us off.
I'm so emotional right now. I am like trying not to get too emotional because we are recording.
Mm-hmm.
Let me dab my watermark real quick. Whew. So, personally, this just reminds me of my relationship with my girlfriend, which I bring up occasionally here. And side note, I want to bring up again later, but not in this episode, but we'll talk about it. And so, Kassandra, I know you don't know or have met my girlfriend, but she's very introverted and has a lower social capacity than I do.
Okay.
She's a middle school teacher. So she gets really overstimulated really quickly.
I can imagine.
So basically, like we've been together for like, as of right now, we've been together for like a little over a year and a half. And within that year and a half, you know, there's a lot of understanding between two people. And so she understands that my social capacity is a little higher. And just, we've like gotten to a point where like when I'm having like a really rough time or like she's having a really rough time, we can like call each other and be like, can you just come over?
Oh,
and
that's beautiful.
And like, but like, we'll be like crying, like, can you like, but like, you know, it's like one of those things where you just like drop everything. And even though Charlie is not allowed to see Nick, and I'm just like, it's okay. Like on that level, I'm like, do your schoolwork. But I'm like, Nick is having a rough time. His brother is back giving him hell, and he just needs to like go away. And Charlie just had a shit parent-teacher conference. His parents are basically being like, the one thing that like makes you really happy right now, you can't experience, which sucks.
Yeah.
And they just want to like be together and like be away and like just be with each other. And like I said, my social capacity is a little higher. So sometimes I'll be like, I want to go out and have fun and do something. Please come with me. So like, that happens sometimes. But like that's just what it reminded me of when I was like watching it, and I like started to get a little emotional because
Adorable.
like
That's so cute.
Okay, does anyone else have anything?
This song is like, it immediately shot to the top of my favorites. It's one of the most romantic songs I've ever heard in my life. I love it so much. And again, it's so perfectly placed. Like, I want to breathe your air, press your chest against mine, right as they like run and hug. And then like this scene to me is very much showing like Nick's development. Because here we are like back in the park where he couldn't kiss Charlie because like somebody walked by at a distance, and now he's like not only kissing him but pulling him on top of himself for like a full-on little makeout. And like we're back here and he's like, I can kiss you now. And we get the lines like, I think I know now what life should have been like. We should have stayed. We should have danced all night. So he's like, if I could go back to that party, we would have stayed and danced and kissed all night. I don't know. It's the most like intimate and perfect song for this scene. And then like when he pulls Charlie on top of him, we get the fantasy embrace won't soothe this physical desire. And I'm like, this is like throughout season 2, we see them getting like more and more physical. So that's just like another line that like hit. And then I copied notes from that episode we covered where I wrote down about this scene, about how Charlie like sits down and checks in with Nick and is like asking him, how is it going? Like, do you want me to revise with you? And like in this moment is when Nick is like, it's one of the first times that he like wants to say I love you, but he's like maybe overwhelmed with it. And so instead he just like grabs him and kisses him to convey the feelings. And I was like, every time I see this scene, I just like get overwhelmed.
I love it because it's such a good parallel to the like snow scene in Crush with Dance With Me. Like they have very similar energy, like the soft, like romantic falling in love vibes. Yeah. This one breaks me like in a good way. But I feel like everything that I would say I've either already said or has been better expressed by other people in this recording. So
that's so lovely. I kiss you once and I'll kiss you twice. It's just like how, Charlie says to Isaac later, I knew that I was into Nick because I just couldn't stop thinking about kissing him. And so it's just like, even in the song, it's like kiss and then a kiss again. And then, especially too, the first episode, the montage of them just making out all the time. So it's like, it works, kind of wraps it up.
For sure. And then we go to Lambert, the little montage we get while Elle is there. Amy Michelle's Welcome to the Sidelines. My notes on this one are basically just, wow, this song pretty much sums up exactly how Elle is like feeling. And I had not really paid much attention to the lyrics in this song until I was doing my notes. But I wrote down the lyrics. Believe me this time when I say I'm having a little trouble caring about a lot of things right now. Can see you just fine from the sidelines. You break me like a habit with your idiosyncratic mind. Took it a little too far this time. I'm better off alone. Elle is like clearly depressed and like trying to figure out how to move on from like trying to flirt with him and thinking that it like failed terribly and that she needs to get over him. So like she's creating this space between her and her best friend. She feels like she took it too far this time and now she's got to like take a step back. And I don't believe that she thinks she's better off alone, but I do feel like she definitely thinks that they're better off taking some space from each other. Then also just the line about the idiosyncratic mind, I was like, that's like pretty fucking perfect for Tao because he's a peculiar little guy, like it's not a bad thing. He just like does think outside of the box for most things. So like, I just thought it was a brilliant line for this situation.
Yeah.
I don't have many thoughts. I just really like the vibe and the sound. So I'm gonna sit back for a little bit.
Yeah, that one's a quick one too. Like we don't need much of it.
Well, because it's diegetic, which means that it's like actually playing in the scene as opposed to like not actually playing in the scene. So like I didn't like make a note of every time that happens, but it's only a few times. I'm going to bring up one other that's I think more important, but that's like the only thing that I noted. I was like, diegetic music.
Yeah.
Because it's like the song that's playing at the event that they're at.
This was another one where from a production perspective, I really love the vocal layers in this one as well. And it's not just like layers in terms of like different registers, vocal registers, but also like just how many times it's just like the number of additional background layers you have. And then it's like, especially later in the song, then they throw on these effects to the vocals, to the background layers, which just gives it even more of a presence. And in addition to like her top layer vocals, which are like the main vocals, I think that makes it sound extra cool. Like my favorite songs are like that. Like I love stuff that does stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is the end of the episode, Charlie's spiral after David is a piece of shit. And it is You Wouldn't Like Me by Tegan and Sarah. And for my thoughts, I just wrote, I agree with everything Alyssa's about to say.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
First of all, Alyssa, last season, did we talk about wanting Tegan and Sarah to be on the next season?
Did not. And this was part of what I talked about in our episode, in our coverage of Family, was how as soon as the first note hit, I was like, how did we not bring up Tegan and Sarah?
Right? I feel like last year, though, or last season, both of us were all about, like, we had just seen Muna. Like, we had just, like, we were, like, going more for, like...
Modern gay,
haha, gay pop. But, like, modern gay, and we weren't like, wait a second. Tegan and Sarah,
quintessential. It's like it doesn't get much gayer than this in the Indigo Girls.
Oh my god. Also, this song, just in general, I'm like, okay, Tegan and Sarah have, like, you know, their classics and whatever about, like, you know, hot, steamy, gay stuff. But then in very lesbian fashion, they have songs like this.
Yes.
This is so lesbian.
So this is where I am going to do a little bit of deep poetic analysis.
Please do.
Which is what Ashley was referring to. Because my note is insert lyrical breakdown of how perfect the song is. Because what we have happening, right, is the song is playing over like this text conversation that Nick and Charlie are having, where Charlie is trying to blame himself for everything that has happened in this episode. The stuff with David, the fact that he got in trouble with his parents to begin with, like all of these things. And it starts, there's a war inside of me. Do I cause new heartbreak to write a new broken song? Do I push it down or let it run me right into the rim? And I feel like Charlie is really on the verge of self-sabotaging. He's like really contemplating just like letting this all run right into the ground because he feels like he doesn't deserve it. So like right off the bat, I'm just like, okay, thank you for destroying me. And then I feel like I wouldn't like me if I met me, which is like maybe one of the most relatable sentences ever written into a song. And then also I like definitely feeds into the way that Charlie is feeling in last season and this season. I'm going to jump down a bit because it's, I feel like we have the bridge again and then the chorus and don't you worry, there's still time, of like him still thinking like there's still time for me to fuck this up. There's still time for Nick to realize that I don't deserve him, like that this isn't worth it or whatever. And it just hurts.
Yeah. I also have a counterpoint on that line because I wrote down like that's clearly like the sentiment of the song. However, we also get it cut with the shots of Tao. And I feel like the don't you worry, there's still time kind of turns hopeful a little bit with Tao because like in the context of the song, it's like, you know, there's still time for you to hate me. But for Tao, I feel like he's still got time to express his feelings to Elle before she potentially moves for for Lambert. So like there's still time. She's not moved yet. I've still got time to like lock this down and like let her know how I feel.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about it like in terms of like Charlie's inner monologue, but that's a really good point. And then I don't remember how much of the song is actually in the episode, and I didn't make notes on that, but just like, yeah, it hurts. And like even the end, like the outro, sunshine is days away, I won't be saved, I know all the words, I can't say that I'll love you forever. And it's just like, with where Charlie's at and like where his arc goes, it's just like, oof, it hits really hard.
Not gonna lie, I think this entire song is in there because it's such a long, like drawn out scene, and then it goes into the credits. Yeah, I think they did the entire song.
It's just like it's just so good for where Charlie's at this season, and I'm just gonna reiterate how mad I am at myself for not thinking about it.
Same.
Ahead of time.
Same. Tegan and Sarah are gonna go down as timeless.
Yeah.
Timeless. Sure. And we didn't think about that.
Yeah, they're also the only ones, like artists in the soundtracks, both for season 1 and season 2, that I knew of prior to listening to them in Heartstopper. And I was like, hey, Tegan and Sarah, I know them. Like, listen to them in college. Like,
my only note is like, no, Charlie's spiral is starting to become more evident. No. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, to the point where, like, as the song is starting, like, his dad asked him if he wants any dinner, and Charlie's like, no, I ate already. No, you didn't. Lies.
Yeah. That boy full of lies this season, which I will point out when we get down to the library.
Yeah. So yeah, that was episode 2, Family. And now we can move on to episode 3, Promise. The first song is that library montage that's like going into exams / doing his coursework / Tao's like Googling how to ask out a friend. And it is Retrospect by Vistas.
Yeah, Charlie wants to only help Nick and doesn't let Nick help him. And this is a perfect segue where he lies to him about having already done his history coursework.
Well, let's be real here. Who hasn't done that before when we were teenagers? I'm like the ADHD. So my summary of it was studying and research in the library, aka the ionic compound scene.
Yes.
AKA ADHD brain in a nutshell.
Yeah. I wrote down a set of lyrics. Throw my arms to the skies. Hold my head, make me realize. Close my eyes, let me reset. Happiness in retrospect. Make it chill, make it flow. Everything in the afterglow. Let me go and I'll forget. There's happiness in retrospect. And I feel like this scene is like everything is like coming together for these characters, they feel like in this moment, right? Like, because it ends with like the exams ending and they get to like go party now or whatever. So like the studying is paid off for Nick. He's killing the exam. Charlie pushed through and got the fucking essay done finally. Tao is like making moves, doing research, trying to get Elle to go out with him.
Getting his haircut.
Like, yeah. And like the happiness scale for these kids after the exams, after Elle has like accepted his date proposal, they're all like through the fucking roof. And so I feel like that this is such a like happy, like, you know, all that was worth it because now look at where we are. Like that's the kind of vibe this song has. Like there's happiness in retrospect, everything in the afterglow. Like they're just like on cloud 9 after this scene. Just very fitting.
For sure.
Again.
That is very fitting. And I also talked about the beat and the sound, because for me, the beat and the sound was very like motivational and stimulating, which is what everyone needed to get through this process of, you know, working hard so that their hard work would pay off and they could reach that point of like happiness, reset, afterglow.
Right.
For sure.
All right. So the next one is Things Will Be Fine by Metronomy, but it's the Bratty remix. And the scene is immediately following Elle accepting Tao's date proposal into their date. And the lyrics that I wrote down, yeah. I remember the first time that I felt this weight on me. Yeah, I was only 15. And just like the first time in that teenage misery, yeah, I wish things were as easy. But I might save the day. Yeah, I might change the world. Things will be fine. Things will be fine. I feel like it's just like they're going into this date, right? And so like everything is happy, but everything is like new and anxious and exciting and miserable all at once. And yet things are like these moments that they're all going through right now are like so trivial in the grand scheme of things. And so it's like looking back on that time now, you're like, wow, it was miserable, but like I wish things were that easy again, you know? And so like I just those lyrics really hit me looking at this scene like as a 30-year-old, you know?
I feel that. It's just like it was the worst thing ever to go through. Like all of those emotions were like crazy heightened. It felt like you're like, how, like my parents will never understand how I feel, and everything is just like really intense. Everything sucks. And then like you said, now in our 30s, we're like, man, what a great time that was.
Yeah, that's all I have on that one.
Yeah, I didn't have anything really for that.
Yeah. It was also like a really quick little bit.
Yeah.
So there's not
just like a little transition song. It's not much of a like scene montage.
Pretty short song anyway, though.
Yeah. So then we go to Walking Up to the Bonfire and we get The Sound by the 1975.
Yes. Love this one.
Yeah.
Love it.
This is another band that like I think it was like this one and Tegan and Sarah from like the first half, the only ones that I knew prior. Yeah, the 1975 is wonderful. I love their sound. Anything they do, I'm just like, it works.
I only know them in the context of Taylor Swift.
I mean, I also know them in the context of Taylor Swift, but I also like, you know, I have this association with the 1975 with a very specific person who like thought they were the greatest band to ever walk the earth, but was like one of those like pretentious people who like thought that they were like cool and deep. And so because I had I had like this unpleasant association with this awful person, it kind of gave me an unpleasant, you know, like a negative like look on the band. Like I knew like the song Chocolate when it got really big. And like I knew like a couple of their other songs that, you know, like kind of like made their rounds, but never really got too into them. I've enjoyed the songs that I've listened to, but like also Maddie kind of sucks as a person. So
yeah.
I do like the sound of this one though, which is like I like the sound of the sound. But but it's a fun one. It's got a good beat and stuff. I just I don't know that I'll ever do a deep dive just because of all the shitty things he has said and done.
Honestly, I feel like this is a song that you would just like hear as like teenagers are putting together a playlist of songs for a party.
Yeah, it's generic teen party background music.
Yeah,
for sure.
For me, I was like, I don't really have any thoughts on this. Why don't I have any thoughts on this? And it's like, because the lyrics don't really make as much sense. It's just generic teen music.
The only thing I wrote down was, well, I know when you're around because I know the sound of your heart. And then I said, that's a fucking Nick and Charlie AO3 quote if I ever heard one.
Yeah, that's the only part. And it's a little confused. I was just like, okay, Bob, too. Okay, I know when you're around because I know the sound of your heart. And then I'm like, wait, then the rest of it's like, you're so conceited. And then there's like, oh, it doesn't matter if I lie to you. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's a happy song. I'm confused. But I did like it. Like you guys know, I first listened to the beat and like the rhythm of a song, and then I listened for the lyrics.
Yeah.
So that's definitely how this one is playing out for me.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean that I like it any less.
Yeah, it's just a mediocre one compared to the rest of what we have on this list.
Again, I think generic teen party song kind of like covers it. It's just like, we need something to set the vibes of
you guys know what I like.
Woods bonfire party.
Generic teen playlist is.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the next one is in French, which I don't speak, so...
This one I feel like I can guess. Le temps d'amour, de l'amour.
That's how I was going to say it.
Yeah.
By Francois Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is... They're singing Moonrise Kingdom, and this is a song from Moonrise Kingdom.
And so, I also searched that because I was like, is it actually in the movie?
It is. And I watched the scene. I've not seen that movie. I think, Alyssa, are you the only one that's seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the scene is like two kids camping on a beach and like having the time of their life.
They're
and
the
like
main characters of the film.
I figured. And they're like kissing, and he like, you know, you see her like him like drawing her, and they dance, and then some men show up and they have to go back home.
Okay.
It's an interesting little song. The translation is, it is the time of love, the time of friends and adventure. As the time comes and goes, one thinks of nothing in spite of one's wounds, because the time of love, it's long and it's short. It lasts forever. One remembers it. It's like that over and over again, with some stuff in between, but I feel like that's the chunk we really hear in the scene. So, you know, they're falling in love, and the song has kind of like that feeling of like innocence and getting lost in love and letting your walls down. And like, but the only problem with this is that I feel like neither one of them has let their walls down, and that's why this date is going so poorly. So like when I was reading the lyrics, I was like, but I mean, I understand why they chose it, because they're literally watching the movie and it makes sense.
They could have chosen any of the songs from the movie.
Yeah, but this is like kind of one of the iconic scenes from the movie and like songs from the movie.
Okay, gotcha.
So it kind of makes sense, but also I feel like the disconnect is kind of important, like between what they're watching and what's happening and like where they're at, because like theoretically they should be having this like perfect like rom-com date. Also, granted, Moonrise Kingdom is not like a cutesy rom-com. It's a Wes Anderson movie. It's very complex. But like, you know, they should be having this, but there's like this like disconnect. And
yeah, it's true. So it's sort of like the antithesis of
yes.
What
Also,
this about.
Wes Anderson does things like that. And I've talked a lot about how a lot of things in this season felt very Wes Anderson to me, even before this scene. But he does things like that where it's like kind of discordant is the word I'm looking for, between like whatever is like happening and like the visuals or the sound and stuff. So
good word. Love hearing the big words.
Also, like the sound of the song is very like back and forth, like a dance, and that is kind of like what they're doing in this scene. They're doing this dance of like, let me hold your hand. No, it's awkward. I don't know. I'm gonna sneak a glance at you. I don't know. So like the feel
literally.
of it.
Literally, my notes is Tao holds Elle's hand. It's awkward. Also, just another fun little tidbit. The song was released in 1962.
That makes sense because of like the setting of the film.
Okay. Also, it reminds me very much of Bang Bang, My Baby Shot Me Down. From like that was immediately the vibes I got. Totally different context. Okay. But
similar vibes.
Yeah, sound wise, I was like, oh, kind of has that like sound, which I like. So I was into it.
Okay, so the next one is when Nick and Charlie are walking into the like bonfire chaos, and it is Kiss Your Face Forever by the one and only Orla Gartland.
Yes. Yes.
I love this song also.
Yes.
Straight to the top of my favorites list. It's so good.
It does such a good job of playing into the chaos and anxiety of this scene. Like,
yes.
Very.
Honestly, totally matches. Another one that it's like, yeah, like let's put this song on because we're about to rev up the party and start this fire. When they start chanting fire, 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 I'm like,
I also want to talk about the pressure that Nick is putting on himself in this scene to come out to the rugby lads. And like when he's like, I've got something to tell you. And he's hesitating. We can hear Orla singing, come on, coward, commit, commit. Come on, loser, admit to what you want. Already through the worst of it, no rehearsing it, no reversing it, which conveys like such pressure. Like it just conveys pressure. And that's exactly like what he's feeling in this moment.
No, it really is. I didn't do too much research on lyrics. So I'm really appreciating all of these, but that is like completely on the nose.
Yeah.
And also like revving up for the next one, which I know we're not at yet, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you're right. It does like build, right? And then the next one keeps building again. The not related, this is another one I wrote down that's like, it is tangentially related, but like for me personally, I just love this line of, let's play a game of emotional monopoly in the name of monogamy. But thank you, Orla. We love you.
Yeah, that's
so
a fun
good.
line.
Yeah, I like that one.
So yeah, the next one is when they're getting the fire going and Tao and Elle arrive and kind of have their argument spliced with this all together. And it is Foreplay by something sister.
Susie.
Susie?
Okay. Yeah, my first note is, how the fuck do you pronounce this?
I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I'm like, I gave up.
There's a lot of X's.
Yeah. And no lyrics?
No lyrics. Yeah, it's all electronic. No lyrics. But yeah, like you said, my only note on this one is just that it builds the tension and builds and builds. And it's like you're waiting for the beat to drop, but it like never does in the scene. It just like keeps coming,
my God.
until their date like comes to a full implosion at the party.
Yeah. My note was, so you know when you're at like a club or a party, and like the music is really loud and like really awesome, and everyone around you is having a fantastic time, and you just feel like shit personally, and you can't enjoy anything. Like you see all of these different scenes where like everyone's like farting shit, dancing, having a good time. Meanwhile, Nick's having an anxiety attack and Tao and Elle are separated and being really sad, and like they're just not having a good time, and like no one else is noticing because they're all having a good time, and you can enjoy yourself even though the music is awesome and the vibe is awesome. So you're just like, I gotta go. Like, I can't do it anymore. I know that I feel that personally when I go to the Stonewall Inn and I go upstairs and they're having a dance party and the DJ is not always great. And they'll like blast the music and it'll be these like really weird remixes. And I just get so overstimulated that I'm like,
I gotta get out of here.
Get me out of here. Get me out. Like, I'm not having fun anymore.
Valid.
There is not enough alcohol in the world that could get me to tolerate this.
Might even make it worse.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, for sure. And I also thought that it's just like, all of these songs, you know, and then last season, there has been established a Heartstopper vibe, right? Like they all have the Heartstopper vibe. This one and the next one are
out of left field.
Yeah, completely just a departure from that established vibe. And I legit thought that they were added to the playlist by mistake until I watched the episode over. And I was like, oh wait, no, that's actually in there.
Yeah.
Like, what?
See, they let Harry pick some of the music.
Yeah. Totally. I remember like when the season first came out and I was like first spinning the soundtrack a bunch, and I had Zach in the car and this one came on and I was like, and like skipped it. And he just kind of looked at me funny and I was like, well, it's just, I mean, it's on the soundtrack, but like it doesn't, they just like threw these two dance tracks in. They don't really fit. And it's not really the vibe I'm going for today. So we're skipping them.
I mean, it's not that I don't like them. I actually do like them.
I like them both too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're listening to them in the context of these songs, it's like, whoa, wait.
It just throws you for a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So the next one, well, they're kind of, we can just talk about them together, I guess, is called Miss You by Bad Smith. And there are some lyrics in this one, but they're kind of hard to hear. They're really low.
Yeah.
And it's just over and over again. It's miss you, I'm lonely. I won't go solve it because I'm lonely. I'm lonely. Miss you all day. I won't go solve it because I'm lonely. The beat in this second one, though, is like really aggressive. It's like, I feel like you feel the panic just by like listening to the song when it's put into this context.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, this definitely goes along with foreplay, but it's definitely like that moment that I was just talking about where you go, I gotta go. Can't do it anymore. Gotta go. Bye. Now. Bye. Like, and just like be like really aggressive and just be like, no, like, I'm not even going to be nice anymore about it. Like, I need to go now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, I think it goes well in that same context, right? Of like, okay, this is giving me anxiety. Like you can see Nick's anxiety about telling the lads. And then fucking Harry shows up.
Yeah. Fucking
Harry.
Fucking Harry. And then
honestly,
they feel well. You know, it's just like, it kind of goes well with it. Like chaotic sort of like anxiety, not feeling well.
Honestly, not going to lie. In this moment, Harry has never been more punchable. I'm like, go away.
The thing is, though, for me, it makes me laugh every single time whenever Charlie like pulls him off of Nick and he's like, piss off, Harry. And Harry just like bursts out laughing for some reason. Every time that happens, I'm like, it just makes me giggle like that's his reaction. And then to be like, what's his problem? Like,
what's his problem? What's your problem?
Yeah.
That's really what makes me want to punch him is I'm like, please go away. Like,
I really wish they would have given him the comic hair. It would be so funny to have him have like the angel, like straight up, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But instead it looks like he's like got wannabe Nick hair, right? It's like he swoops it over, but he styles it with like gel. So it like stays instead of being like flowy. But yeah, that's the thought I had while I was rewatching. I was like, man, I wish he had the comic hair.
Yeah. That honestly might have made it more laughable, but he just like comic Harry, like I just want to punch him.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get to a pretty big one. It is the scene at the end where Charlie is holding Nick in Nick's bed, and Biba Doobie has entered the chat with Love Song.
Biba Doobie.
It's just so soft and gentle and sweet and like the perfect counter to the chaos at the party.
Yeah.
And like as the introvert in my relationship, I'm always just like, this is exactly what I need is like, all right, I'm done with all of this and I just need this like nice quiet time.
Yeah, for me, this song is the best use of a song in a scene thus far. For me, it checks all the boxes.
Nice.
Like Nick and Charlie are always struggling in their own ways, and yet they can somehow be there for each other in every single way. So it's perfect in every single way. No notes.
Yeah.
Other than that, no notes.
Yeah.
No criticisms.
This the line, when I've been a mess, it's not your fault. It's like,
yeah.
Like when Nick is struggling, it's like, trust me, Charlie, it's not your fault. But then like Charlie's having a hard time accepting that. And then, but then also I noted that like Nick falls asleep while Charlie's comforting him, but he's saying that he just wants everyone to know. He's like, part of me just wants everyone to know that you're my boyfriend. And then he kind of gets this like sad look on his face, and then the song continues in the ending credits. And yeah, I was just like, poor Charlie.
Yeah. I wrote down the chunk of lyrics. I didn't think I'd ever want this yet when we had first met in the fall. Guess it's something you learn to accept. When I've been a mess, it's not your fault. Because they have moved quickly, and I like the park scene. I feel like Nick wanted to say I love you. I think that Charlie is thinking he wants to say I love you in this scene, but that's super scary in and of itself. And then on top of that, he's dealing with like the overwhelming sadness that they are coming out on the back burner. But he's like stressed out about Nick's stress levels at this point too, and wants to protect him and keep him happy in this like little happy bubble. And the lyrics to this song just encapsulate all of those feelings so perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And who doesn't love a beabadoobie?
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come here, stay with us. We love you.
Yes.
It's like a hug. The song feels like a hug.
It does.
Yeah, I was about to be like, big hugs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so that's episode 3.
Yeah.
Look at that, guys.
So our last episode for this discussion is episode 4 challenge. And we open up with Obsessed by Hatchie, like as they're loading the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one that I wrote down. I don't have any intelligent thoughts about this one. I just really like it a lot. And I hope that someone else has notes on it. But like, as someone who gets easily obsessed about things, I'm like, yeah, it is okay that I get a little bit obsessed. Thank you, Hatchie.
Excuse me, it's called a hyperfixation, and they are valid.
Thank you. About myself.
For me, I saw it as like the song kind of sounds like, and that's probably why one of the reasons why they put it in was like gearing up for a new beginning. Like, we're going on this super awesome trip. Oh my God, so exciting. And the lyrics are like kind of matching their conversation about like both wanting them to like both of them really wanting to have fun. And like, you know, be open and like PDA with everyone, but like they've already had the discussion, like Nick's not ready to come out, so they're quote unquote okay with going back in the closet a little bit.
Yeah. It's like Charlie's trying to make him feel better about it.
Yeah. But like it's okay to be obsessed. A little bit.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, it's like, oh, do I want to be that obsessed? I do, but should I?
Right.
That's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, okay, setting off on a new adventure. It's like starting another little sub chapter.
Yeah.
Now we are physically like going into a new place in terms of like scene.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're leaving that city and it's just like an entirely new area. And so new adventure.
Yeah. New environment.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one is another French song. It translates to Treasure, and it's by Herve, maybe? I hope that's how you say it. And it's pretty short, so I'll just read out the translation of the lyrics. The world will rise with or without me. I need a pit stop. Another breakdown, I'm going wild. But you know I can't handle it since I overdo it. I listen to these songs on the radio. I know them too well. The ones that stuck to us, all those that stick to you. Don't chase me, treasure. You know how much you mattered. My desires cause disorder. You're beautiful like summer. The world will stop with or without me. I want to see the sea in Austin again. I avoid these songs on the radio. I know them too well. The ones that stuck to us, all those that stick to you. I'll skin them alive. Don't chase me, treasure. You know how much you mattered. My desires cause disorder, but you're beautiful like the summer. And so for me, the song very much feels, well, first of all, it starts on the coach entering Paris when Tara brings up the I love you issue with Darcy and she like plays dumb. So for me, this song is like very much, it's a cry for like a break from everything because they feel like they're going to fuck everything up and like they're minutes away from having a breakdown, but it's not about the other person. It's about themselves, and the other person's like beautiful and perfect. And like, that's like not the issue. The issue is that I'm a raging disaster and like I just need a break from life. And I feel like that's very much, I would imagine that's how Darcy is feeling in this moment in the context of what's going on with the two of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also unrelated, the way that he sings reminds me of like the early Tokyo Hotel. Anybody else? Tokyo Hotel?
I have to go back and listen to it again.
But anyway, yeah, the way Herv, I don't know, is singing, it does remind me. The early early days of Tokyo Hotel, and it made me pretty happy. I was like, oh, I love that. It just reminded me of him.
I'll listen back to it.
Okay, so the next one's also a French song, and it translates to A Little More Often by Alexia Grady. But this one is the like couples montage in Paris. The lyrics translates to my first note is, wow, this is a sexy song. The lyrics we hear translate to, you let your hands slide around my neck. You know I like it and it drives you crazy. It's true. We left each other a little too much time. Would you like to say I love you to me a little more often? A little more often. And then like we hear that again, but they say, I would like to say I love you to you a little more often, a little more often.
Cute.
So the whole song is like yearning to be closer, basically, which we see Charlie in this moment when he's like watching Tara and Darcy like be open and loving, and he like wants to touch Nick but is afraid. And then like we also know that like James definitely feels that way as he's like walking along with Isaac, and then Tal and Elle like for sure feel that way about each other. So just another perfectly placed song.
Yeah, you basically said exactly what I was going to say, especially about Tara and Darcy. And, you know, I like to say PDA, so I'm like, they're PDA. And Charlie, like, wishing. I mean, we all know, he's like, I'm okay. Like, as long as you're okay, I'm okay. And side note, I do that with my girlfriend, too, because she's much more indecisive than I am. So I'm always like, whenever you're ready, I know it'll be okay. So like absolutely relatable.
Yeah. He's where he's like, oh, well, maybe I can touch fingers.
Like,
and he's like, no, I don't want to take the risk and upset Nick or have him reject me, you know?
Yeah. But also they're teenagers. So he absolutely could have, like, they're not noticing people's fingers touching.
Yeah. True. And like it's not like any of the others of that group are there. You know, it's not like Harry's around the corner.
Exactly. Like
except you don't know. Like he could turn the corner at any moment.
That's true. Because he has a habit of doing that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so then we have our second MXM tune song, Mona Lisa. Another one that shot
this
to the
was
top.
Like one of my top favorites
Love this one
of the season.
Love.
Yeah, the first bit that I wrote beside my thoughts was clap, 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 perfectly placed.
Yeah. I thought it was wonderfully placed. Like 10 out of 10.
I'll read the chunk that I wrote down of the lyrics. I've always played the part of Shakespeare. I hide behind the ink and pen. I build up worlds and choose a savior. I write beginning, middle, end. I'm so tired of being a book on a shelf, tired of stories for somebody else. Think that I'm ready to start a new chapter. I've been looking for some way to turn it around, looking for someone to give me the crown. I want to feel like I finally matter. I want to be a Mona Lisa.
It's just like exactly Tao.
I love it.
Like the only thing you would need to do to make it more Tao is replace the word book with film.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like, it just fits so well. And this is another one of those scenes where I'm like, oh my God, if you just like clipped this, it's a perfect music video for this song.
Yeah, for sure.
And we also get the lyric later, let me be your muse, which also made me think of him being like, just draw me. And then you're like, you know, and then also at the same time, we're getting this scene of him basically being like, she's basically his muse in this moment too, where he's like taking photos of her in the museum as well. So it's like twofold.
Yeah.
And then she's like swooning. And she's like, oh yeah, I do really love him. You know?
Yeah. It's a fun one too. I like to listen to that one just at random.
Yeah, the like rhythm, like the beat of the like pre-chorus is just such a vibe.
There's a fun TikTok dance that goes with it too.
What?
Yeah, okay, the artist did you gotta follow her on TikTok. She's so cute and she's like so bubbly and also takes no shit, like, which is fun for me to watch her be like pick a comment out and be like, what is your problem?
Oh, I need more of that in my life.
Yes, for sure.
So we have one left, and I feel like it is pretty self-explanatory. It is Freak Out, Mia Folick. And it is the hickey scene where he finds it. And we just get it.
Boom. Yeah. Yeah.
Like it sounds panicky, you know?
Yeah, like you're fucked.
Yeah.
It is.
You wanted this? Well, haha, your boyfriend didn't realize. Also, how do you not realize? Like,
look, it's a lesson we all have to learn at some point, okay?
We've all been there. We have all been there, Nicolette.
Not me.
What? There's
Never.
No way.
I knew exactly what I was doing.
Okay.
I knew exactly what I was doing. I'm sorry. That's why this boggles my mind.
You ever gotten a hickey?
Yes. And I knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
You're like, no, stop. You're giving me a hickey.
Yes.
Well, like, some people bruise faster than others, you know? Like, maybe.
It's true. Yeah. You don't know your own limits.
Charlie does seem like someone who bruises easily.
Oh, yeah. That is, okay. Fair.
Like, you don't have to suck very hard on my neck to leave a hickey.
I mean, fair. At the same time, you do feel like a little something, and like it feels a little different.
Yeah, but if you don't know what it is, you're not gonna.
I was gonna say, this is also that's obviously very clearly the first time this has ever happened to Charlie, or that Nick has ever done this. And on top of like having to be in that moment, he's also like anxious and looking at the door and like waiting for Tao to bust in at any fucking moment. So it's like his brain was not fully in the moment either.
Okay, I guess. But yeah, they're fucked. Now you got some splaining to do. So yes, freak out. Yeah. Because now your entire plan is going to change.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious. Where it's like, and then it goes,
we get our one half fuck.
The timing on it is so fucking funny.
So funny. I laugh every time.
Yeah, I even went back and watched, like, rewound it, like 10 seconds, whatever, like 5 times, because I just thought it was hilarious.
My favorite is Tao being like, "You," the actual audacity.
We will be having words,
but that's in the next episode.
It is, yeah.
We're not gonna have ourselves.
I count that all as one scene, though. It's like one scene that has a short break.
That is true. That is true.
Can I just say that? For this episode that we're doing, this part 1, this song is a wonderful one to leave off on. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear everyone's favorite songs, not use in the scene, but just like favorite ones from this list that you maybe like listen to on the reg. I have a short list. I have more than these, but I picked out like my top few, you know.
For me, it's Shatter is like number 1.
Great.
And then Kiss Your Face.
Nice.
And then honorable mentions are Mona Lisa and Freak Out.
Wow. Okay. You left my number 1 off, so I'm interested to hear everyone else's.
Mine that I like listen to on the reg, I'm gonna leave off the ones that I already knew because I feel like that's cheating.
Right, yeah.
But Mona Lisa and Paradise.
Yeah.
Like, because all the other ones that like on this list that are like my faves, I knew already.
So mine, also Mona Lisa. It's just so cute and catchy. It gets stuck in your head. I do like Kiss Your Face Forever. I'm scrolling up the list. Obviously, the 1975, The Sound, like that one. And then Coming of Age, also I really like that one. Was the Welcome to the Sidelines, Amy Michelle. I think those are. And Shatter.
Yeah. Mine is Paradise and Shatter and Kiss Your Face Forever. Like those are pretty much on every playlist that I make, like constantly in rotation.
Nice. I mean, I also love the vibe of like the entirety of episode 3. The vibe. Not always the lyrics, but the vibe.
Yeah.
The last section I have for this episode is the favorite use of a song from this section of the show. And I picked 2, and then I also had 2 runners up.
Do I even need to say it?
Love song. I've
said it a billion times.
Is it mine's Paradise?
Mine too.
Yeah. Paradise and Shatter.
Yeah, I was going to say Shatter.
And then my runners up are Kiss Your Face Forever and Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa for sure as a runner up.
I mean, Shatter and Paradise would definitely be like runners up for me, but I think Love Song, like I said before, it checks all of my boxes.
Yes.
Every single one.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Paradise. It's going to be one of my favorite scenes from the series forever. I think it's going to be, it's up there with their first kiss. Like it's one of their it gets me all in my feels. I can't even fucking form words right now trying to talk about it. That's how much I feel.
Second runner up.
That is fair.
Freak Out.
Yeah.
Oh,
really good.
Yeah.
Very short, but hilarious and fitting.
Effective. Short and effective.
It does exactly what it needs.
All right. We did it. Part 1 in the book.
We did it.
Thank y'all for joining us. Let's let everyone know where they can find you if you want them to find you.
Sure.
So once again, my name is Nicolette. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at a small Nico latte.
I love it. I love your name so much.
I'll tell you the backstory about that later. My Instagram is private, but usually if someone has a rainbow flag in their bio or something or lives close to me, I'll accept. So, and I'm sure that's the majority of this audience. So go ahead.
Cass.
Kassandra, Cass. Hey, bitch. And I have other things. I have a Twitter, haven't touched it forever. I have a TikTok, but pretty sure that either it's one of those rando user and then a number of some kind for TikTok.
It's Skellycast.
Is it Skellycast?
It might just be what you have named it. What you put your name in, though. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, and same thing on Instagram. It's just Skellycast, SKELLIKASS.
Nice.
All right. Well, that just about wraps us up. Right now, we're not quite bi-weekly. We're trying. Life is hard. But this is still a podcast by two bisexuals, and we will be back soon with part 2.
If you want to follow us online, we are at Why Are We Cast on all platforms.
And until next time, bye.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.